Hey there, BookTube. Sorry I've been away, but duty calls. Pardon me. Cheers, everyone. I have been off actually saving a building from collapsing, believe it or not, but I'll explain that later after it's all over with. So, this is my October wrap up and my November TBR. So, let's do this. Okay, 5 books. First one was in the Enchanted Pilgrimage or Enchanted Pilgrimage by Clifford D. Samak. And this is a fantasy novel. Pretty much one of your first characters is Oliver. He's a rafter goblin, which was a new one on me, and he spies Mark Cornwall. He finds this manuscript in an old book, but he in turn is being observed by this monk, and the document mentions the wastelands and what could potentially be there, so that kind of starts the pilgrimage. Oliver pretty much saves Cornwall's life, and they start out on their journey. They meet several other folks. There's a forest man named Hal, a marsh man named Gil, Snively. He's a gnomish blacksmith. There's a gnome who's a blacksmith, and they keep traveling. They meet up with Mary. I don't give anything away. I'm really good at that. I like to give vague reviews. There's some other oddball characters that they meet, and there's a strange thing that happens at the end, which I had actually forgot about. So, because I read this book back in the 70s. But give this 4 stars. Pretty good fantasy novel, and I don't read a lot of fantasy, so you may want to check that one out. Next was Ardoris by Charles Heathcote, and I read this for Todd and Dane's indie read along, and very humorous. I like Charles's style of writing. There's, like I said, it got me from the opening where Doris was pouring Guinness beer on slugs, and she's got this problem with slugs. She doesn't care for them. Harold, her husband, they've got this great back and forth and stuff. And if you want to see what's going on with this, go check out the read along review. But like I said, 4.5 stars is because the humor was off the hook. Did enjoy that one. Good job, Charles. And then read The Night Boat by Robert R. McCammon. And in this one, David Moore, this takes place in the Caribbean or Caribbean, depending on your pronunciation of that particular region, its islands, and the sea or ocean. David Moore, he accidentally sets free a German U-boat which had been sunk for years, and it rises, and of course it's manned by Crew of the Undead, which is pretty wild. And its crew sets about terrorizing the Caribbean until something has to be done about it. And of course, the main man, David Moore, he's tasked with that particular job. And I mean, how do you destroy a German U-boat from World War II that's crew is the undead? You'll have to read it to find out. But interesting author's note. It may be interesting to note that U-boats were referred to by both captains and crews as iron coffins. Rightly so. 736 German submarine crews still lie with their boats on the ocean floor. Robert R. McCammon. Like I said, 4.5 stars. I'm a big McCammon fan, and this one was, I think it was the historical stuff, and I don't know, I just really liked it. So there you go. Read it. Like I said, I give vague reviews. I'm not going to ruin it for y'all. Okay, Dark of the Eye by Douglas Clegg. Some people may know Douglas Clegg from Ghost Dance. I think it's one of his most popular novels. And this one here, Hope Stewart is kidnapped. Sorry, there's a freaking wasp. I don't know what it's doing this time of year in here. She's kidnapped, and she's kidnapped by this guy named Stephen Grace, and he has multiple personality disorder, to the point where he's a bit of a psycho. And he also, one of his alter egos is the Shadow, and he's getting ready to do some bad things to Hope. There was a car accident. They both wind up in the hospital. Hope's mother springs her. They go to this idyllic small California town where Hope's mother meets up with an ex-boyfriend. She's divorced, and they try to figure out what they're going to do about the situation because the guy starts coming after him. Yeah, excuse me. There's plenty of twists and turns. Enough to the point where you don't really know exactly what's going to happen. So, kind of like that. So I gave this one 4 stars. Dark of the Eye, Douglas Clegg. Then there's Sepulchre by James Herbert. James Herbert may still be the best-selling horror fiction author from Britain. But this one here is about a security expert named Liam Halloran. He's protecting a guy, Felix Klein. Felix is kind of this psychic person, and he can find natural resources, valuable natural resources like gold and stuff like that. But it also turns out that he can read people, so somebody's coming after Felix. They're both having an affair with the same woman. It's just it wasn't bad, but it wasn't James Herbert's best. I gave it 3.5 stars. It's pretty entertaining, so there you go. Okay, now for my November TBR, if I can keep my stack of books from collapsing. The End of Eternity by Isaac Asimov. I'm doing this with as a buddy read with Gina over at Bibliofilth. And you can see I have a really old copy of this book. Then I have The Demon in the Trees by Ben Sanders. Yeah, it says Robert Michaels, The Demon in the Trees. That's by Ben Sanders. This also is in Todd and Dane's Indie Read Along. That's what this is for. Looking forward to reading it. Then I have some comic books. I have my son was at a horror convention and he bought me all 5 of the Dark Tower series, based on Stephen King's work. Peter David, Robin Firth, Jay Lee, and Richard Asano B. Best I can tell. So, thank you, son. And then Desolate, which is published apparently by some local comic place, which didn't realize we had a lot of those in Eastern Kentucky. Then I have Star Trek, Harlan Ellison's The City on the Edge of Forever. Been wanting this for a long time. I saw Mark got a copy of this in an anthology or something. I think it was an anthology. It's probably been a month or so because I've been away from BookTube, but that was Mark over at Richardson Reed, so I'm looking forward to reading this. So my thanks to everyone for watching. You know, if you stuck it out this far, you're a real trooper. I appreciate it. If you want to donate to this channel, send me money, books, beef jerky, you know, whatever. I'm joking. Or am I? Thanks for watching. Bye. Yeah.